Day 3 in Jupiter, Florida. With David Rawnsley, I'm Mike Rooney. It is moving day. We've got teams that have clinched a berth in the playoffs. DR, tell us who is clinched.
Well, there are 3 teams, Mike, who've already clinched. We've got the Evo Shield Canes. I think we'll touch on them a minute. They're always the big story. But 2 other teams have clinched and will definitely be in the playoffs. FTB Mizuno. The second team of the FTB organization, the juniors, a lot of underclassmen on that team. They're 3-0. They're playing confident. They won the WWBA underclass in Fort Myers 2 weeks ago, so they've got a good thing going. I think they've won, 12 straight games in 2 weeks, so you got to count them as an underdog. Their parent organization, FTB Tucci, they're still in the playoff hunt, but they need some breaks that they are out of their control tomorrow to get to the playoffs. In addition, we have Team Elite Prime, one of the favorites, of course, in this event from Georgia. They've played very strong. They won 4-0 today. I watched that game. They have a lefty named Connor Thomas who's going to Georgia Tech, who's going to win a lot of games at Georgia Tech. 5'10", 5'11", lefty, hits 90, nice slider. He threw 6 shutout innings today. In addition, there's 2 teams that go into our play-in game that will get a playoff berth. Those have been determined, those being the Dallas Tigers and Team Evo Shield. Dallas Tigers might be a little disadvantaged. They had to throw their 2 best pitchers today to get into this spot. Perfect game All-American Charles King was on the mound to start, was 91-94, and then Ray Gaither came in and got the save, 90-92. So they've burned their 2 best bullets on the mound, but it's a good team. The Dallas Tigers will be playing tomorrow against Team Evo Shield.
We all know that the Evo Shield Canes are the 2-time defending champs. And can they do the unprecedented three-peat? It's never been done before. Compare these teams, DR, this team to the past Canes teams.
Well, of course, Mike, there are players from last year's team who are on this team. The first one that comes to mind is Brad Debo, who was the MVP of last year's event, and he's having a strong tournament catching. Where I see the difference, and it's a positive difference for this year's team, is the pitching. They haven't allowed a run yet. They've outscored the opponents 15-0, and they've really only burned 1 pitcher, Ryan Hare, through 5 innings yesterday. So they've got their whole staff intact going into the playoffs. They've already clinched, so they don't need to, have a pressure play-in game. So their pitching is going to be really set up, and they've got a deep, strong pitching staff, and that might be the positive difference for the Canes this year that everybody has to worry about.
So we have 17 pools. We will have 17 playoff teams. That's 16, including that playoff game. Any other teams that have really caught your attention today?
Well, there are, and Mike, and they're got teams that I've seen play. A lot of them, I've seen the Texas Scout Team Yankees play. We talked about them yesterday. They're 3-0. They won 9-0 yesterday. They won 13-4 today. They had 6 extra base hits. So that's an offensive juggernaut. I question whether they have the pitching depth, but they win so easily. Run rule, they've been able to save pitching. And Ulysses Cantu, their first baseman, third baseman, he hit a home run yesterday. We mentioned 3 for 4 today, double, another home run, 4 RBIs. He's the hottest hitter in the tournament, and a hot hitter can win this event on his own. Some other teams, Ohio Warhawks, Brave Scout team, watch them play today. They're 2-0-1. They should be in the playoffs. They had a young man today who stole the show. They won 2-0 over Standout Scout team. Akil Badeau, on a day where his teammates really didn't have a good day, he in the 5th inning, 2 outs, runner on third base, bunted and ran a 3.65 to beat out the bunt, RBI, game tied. Then came up in the 7th inning, leadoff triple, scores on the sacrifice fly, game over. So Akil Badeau, if you've ever seen a player win the game for his team by himself, he wanted it today, and he won the game for him. So they're in pretty good. Elite Squad Prime from Florida, one of the favorites. They've been playing really well. They got 5 shutout innings for Evan McKendry, a Miami commit today. They're well positioned for the playoffs. And GBG Marucci, 2-0-1, well positioned. Their starter today, Casey Lagumina, 13 strikeouts in 6 2/3 innings, topped out at 92. So they've had some very strong pitching performances, GBG Marucci. So those are some of the teams that have really caught my eye so far.
Additionally, we've had some great individual performances, and David, you've got some great factoids for us on some of those deals.
Well, you've got 85 teams and 2,000 players. You've got to come up with some factoids. So far, the guy I'd like to mention, he's a 2017. He plays for the Chattanooga Cyclones. His name is Cade Evans. He's a 2017 from Hickson, Tennessee. And we keep stats on all these players, of course, with Game Changer. And Cyclones have played their 4 games. They're 1-3 as a team and won't be going to the playoffs. But Cade is 10 for 14 at the plate, 5 runs scored, 5 stolen bases. He's got 10 hits. The next highest number of hits is 6. So Cade Evans really having a great great tournament, and hopefully put himself on the map with some of the colleges, at least with his performance. He's an uncommitted 2017. On the other hand, we have pitchers, of course. Last year we had 199 pitchers to hit 90 or above. 199 is pretty impressive. So far, after 2.5 days, we've got 160. We think with a day and a half left, all the consolation games, some of the playoff teams saving their big arms, we're going to beat that 199 easily this year. We just need 40 more in the book tomorrow and Monday. We'll be there, and I think that will be easy to do.
Day 4 coming up, the playoffs begin, the round of 16, the round of 8. Can the Evo Shield Canes do it again? For David Rawnsley, I'm Mike Rooney from Jupiter, Florida.